Hello and welcome to a new episode of People Led Show by Infido. My name is Pawan Rochwani and I am interviewing leaders from Southeast Asia in this series to understand what recent trends are they hopping on, how has the AI and HR um, technological adoption going on for them, and also just to get to know them outside of work. I hope you have been enjoying our past few episodes, and if there's something that you would want us to implement or have any suggestions for us, please feel free to reach out to us. And in this episode, I have somebody who is one of the most well-known people leader from Southeast Asia, and no matter whichever, let's say, top 100, top 30 list that you might see from any of the media houses, you will find her name. And I'm so glad that we have Alpha, who is the Chief People Officer of Home Credit Philippines. And she's somebody who comes with almost 3 decades of experience across various functions and department. And I really love the motto of no small roles at Home Credit. And we do chat a lot about that as well. And of course, we chat about what does she do outside of work, what is she doing on the weekends, and how does a work-life balance look for her. And at the same time, what are some new initiatives and new programs that they are implementing right now at Home Credit. Interestingly, when I interviewed her a few weeks back for this recording, they had just completed some major milestones. You will know in the conversation which milestones I'm talking about. So do make sure that you watch this till the end, or if you are a reader instead of a viewer, do feel free to read the summary blog of this episode. But I hope you enjoy this and feel free to reach out to us with any suggestions. Super. Thank you so much, Alpha, for doing this. I know you were part of the Bridge list very recently, but all the people that I've interviewed, so many folks recommended me to host you on the show, and I'm glad that we are doing this today. So thank you so much for taking out the time to do this.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pawan, for inviting me. I was about to ask you that question, of all the 100 HR people on the list, why me?
I think the way the first time I just came across a LinkedIn profile and I went to Home Credit and I read the philosophy of no small roles. I'm like, oh wow, this is something that is really important to talk out there. That every employee is important for us, and I found that really unique within the Home Credit culture, and I'm sure I would wanted to speak to the chief people officer of that org. So that's how it happened. But
Yeah.
to begin this conversation and the recording, I have a question that I ask to all of my guests, which is what who is Alpha outside of work? What are you doing when you are not the chief people officer at Home Credit? How what do you do with your time?
Okay. Well, I'm the eldest in the family of five. I have four siblings. I basically am. So if you happen to be the eldest in the family, especially in the Philippines, you're the driver, the financer, so to speak, and then also the youngest child because the siblings tend to take care of the eldest. So I think I'm that kind of person. I love driving, even though Philippines or Manila rather has been tagged as number one in terms of traffic, but I
Yeah.
still um, I mean, there's some sort of, peaceful quietness of the traffic. I learned to embrace it, I guess. If you're Filipino or maybe from Indonesia, if you're an Indonesian, I lived in Jakarta for more than 10 years. I appreciate traffic instead of, buzzing around and doing all those not so fun stuff. I appreciated with a lot of podcasts, getting back to the Audible, listening to the books that I don't not being able to read. So that's one good thing about the traffic. I love to travel, so every year I make it a point to travel. I had done that, I think, even before in my early stage of career. I make sure that I save money. I call it a travel fund, so that once a year I get to travel to a place that I want to. I started off with making sure that I get to go to Disneyland I
Okay.
started off with Hong Kong. I ended up with the last one, which is actually Paris. So my aim now is, I think I'm coming of age. I cannot do theme parks anymore. It's not for me. It's just way too many walks and what have you. So I wanted now to do the cruise of Disney. So I'm a big Disney fan. You must know that by now.
Wow, super. So also I'm the youngest in my family, so I relate to the reverse of you where I don't have to worry about anything. I'm just like carefree. My siblings and my sisters are taking care of everything. And yeah, thanks for answering that. I think you know I know that you're a big Disney fan, so I'm glad that we got that in the conversation. But yes, getting into about the entire HR ecosystem and also about home credit. What is one thing that makes you proud about home credit's culture? And I kind of answered this for myself in the beginning only, that the no small roles was something that's really as a third person also to see, okay, this organization values their employees and every member that's part of it. But what is one thing that makes you proud of the culture?
I think the culture of, the opportunity, that the challenges that we've had. So just to let you know, I came from Indonesia. I was based there for a long time. Literally, half of my career is outside the Philippines. I'm a Filipina, but I always pride myself. I'm a Filipina who looks Singaporean and can speak Bahasa Indonesia quite fluently because I've been assigned in those countries. So when I came back, I worked here in Home Credit, kicking it off as head of talent acquisition.
Mm.
So the position that I have had in Indonesia was, I was the country manager for teleperformance, Indonesia and Singapore. And then I came back here and I decided, I want to try HR. A lot of my friends discouraged me, honestly speaking. I said, Alpha, you were coming from the dark side. Why go to the darker side of no one appreciates us, no one that. Then I said, well, you know what? I want to try that. If you're someone from the business going to HR, wouldn't it be more fun? Like, let's now try the other seat that typically business would not be happy about, right? And then, so it's a culture, I guess. So after 2019, I got promoted here in Home Credit as Chief People Officer. And that was March of 2020.
Yeah.
And that, what happened in March 2020, right? So it was a pandemic. So I had a fantastic onboarding in the comfort of my home, not knowing what to do. Most of our employees are deployed in the shopping mall. We had to do business optimization, I think not just us, but across the different
Yeah.
industries and companies as well. So it was a very dark time
Yeah.
for all of us. 2020 and then 2021. So the more we get into it, so we I would say for me, COVID was an opportunity for me to leverage on automating things because there was nobody around doing things that you don't even think that you can do, the virtual meetings and all of this stuff. So we started doing that, and
Yeah.
and we did what we did in 2020, and everybody just came into play. Everybody knows what to do. No, yeah, we were panicking, we were worried, we were scared. I was crying because I had to let go of quite a number of people. But we have to do what we have to do, and that's why this no small roles came to fruition when everyone started just coming in. Everybody understood what the company needs to do,
Yeah.
and not serving our customers. Which, by the way, we reached 10 million last year, our 10th anniversary, and now we're at 15,000 employee. In 2019, we had like 10,000 employee. I had to let go of quite a number of them. And then after 2-3 years, we're even more than where we were before. So I think the culture of that, like, coming together, very diverse in terms of the from the management down to the employees. I pride myself of being part of that times wherein I can proudly say that my executives very diverse. I have Indian, Ukrainian, from Czech, Filipino, Indian. I have 5 females in my exco out of the 12 that we have. So, and then across the 15,000, safe to say that I have 56% of male and the rest are female. So very almost equal. You can say that, and it's by no means intentional. By the way, it just so happened that we focus on the skills, we
Yeah.
focus on the potential, and then everything just comes into to play. So I think that's a culture that I'm very proud of. And then now, you're coming to another bell curve, right? We've been doing that, and now we go to another bell curve that I'm very excited about. We were recently hired, or owned rather. We were recently bought by a new company. So we had a new owner starting June of 2023. And the transition for most of the company who has that kind of event in their company would be scared, would panic. I must say that we even got excited that we were recognized as a company that's very strong. That's why a company wants to buy us. For me, that's a thing, because we are a growing company, and everything again, it's attributed to all the 15,000 employees that we have out there working very hard for the company.
Yeah, yeah. And I think quite an eventful year it was. It was the 10th anniversary, 10 million customers. I, in fact, saw the video, and I also noticed this that the chief sales officer, I think Puneet, he's an Indian, Sheila, who's the CMO.
Yeah.
So I did see that diversity. And then I think 2023 was also the year where you won the Asia's TV Award for diversity and inclusion. So I think while you were answering also that, like, have you taken specific measures to kind of, because 15,000 employees is a huge like workforce, right, to um, embrace and execute diversity and inclusion at such a big workforce is sometimes like a task in itself. Have you taken specific measures for this, or this was like naturally happening across?
I think um, the challenges that we've had in COVID, people coming together, and then you're right into saying that no small roles, everyone is important. That particular mantra, that particular slogan, as some people will call it, was very powerful, because suddenly people start looking at, what can I do? What role can I
Mm.
play? Oh, very
Yeah,
important. It doesn't matter who I am, where I came from, what's my nationality. It doesn't matter. It's all about your skills, who you bring forward, what's the value that you can contribute to the company, no matter what roles you have. I think that propelled everyone to just
yeah,
I want to be in that company, because they don't care if I'm what kind of national. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I was saying, I'm colorblind, I'm gender blind. So no, I hate that there has to be labels.
yeah,
um, for me as an HR, it's at the end of it, it's the skills that plays a huge part in the potential. And I think that for us Filipinos here in the Philippines, there's this value that is with us, which is this deep concern. In Tagalog, it's malasakit.
yeah,
So malasakit for the community, for the employees, for our stakeholders, that we just don't serve the customers that are getting our products. We also are serving the employees who makes
yeah,
that happen every day. So the salespeople that you see in the shopping malls across the Philippines, those are our employees, the call center employees, the collections team. So everyone basically is helping each other. So I think that's one thing that sticks, and
yeah.
then that makes it work, regardless of the number of people or the thousands of them across the Philippines.
Yeah, yeah, and it's actually great to see, like the HR team and also the organization prioritizing diversity into their culture. I think that also is like a very important thing. I want to touch upon something that you were just speaking a while back, which was during the pandemic, and I think pandemic was the time period where it was extreme uncertainty, but also we had to showcase or be very empathetic, and the humanness at workplace was very much like needed. In fact, it's needed today as well. But you were onboarding just near that period, so uh, the first task itself was probably very challenging for you because the whole world was going through. Do
Yeah.
you want to share some things or some learnings from that period that really helped you in those initial days of your journey?
I think it's the matter of how do we, so it starts from how do we serve our customers now that we're out of the office and they are struggling as well. I mean, we're a consumer finance company, right? People who needs money, people who cannot get access because they don't have credit cards at the end bank. That's who our customers, that's who the customers are. And we were all struggling. So, and our employees as well. So I think it's more of how do we all help each other get through this challenge, and the realization of, unfortunately, during that time, and I was telling you earlier that I was crying because I was the CEO of a company of Indonesia and the company was growing. I came here to the Philippines to be an HR, and this is the most difficult part of HR's job. We're in to let go of people, and to
Yeah,
make matter worse, you're letting go of people during a pandemic that
yeah,
they will not be able to find any job. So what will they do? Not to mention, you're letting go of people doing this.
yeah,
We're a very relational type of people, right? I mean, Filipinos are very, I need to see you, Pawan, I need to sit
yeah,
down with you. I'm here in the office, by the way, 5 times a week. So I like that kind of feeling. Then suddenly you will tell people that, hey, by the way, Pawan, I'm so sorry that. So it was very tough. But during that early stage, I guess that's when you see what kind of character, attitude people were. And
yeah,
then, of course, it was not perfect, but more learnings than and opportunities, I guess. That's what I saw. And that's why I said, for me, that COVID, my very difficult onboarding, it was an opportunity for me to push the agenda of, there are processes that we can automate. There are processes that can actually be done by certain applications. There are certain, so we started challenging the status quo. We started challenging the processes that normally we were so used of doing. I mean, again, right? If it ain't broken, why fix it? That kind of attitude.
yeah,
But
yeah,
here, what can we do better? How can we do things better? We're all here. You mentioned about mental wellness. How can we call people? How can we now talk and make them feel that we're there for them? So I think that was the most difficult part. But um, going out of that and seeing what we have done, we actually made it into a write up and then entered Stevie, our very first entry for Asia's TV, and it's all about HR digitalization during the pandemic. And we
yeah,
won gold for that. So that was my very first Stevie. So a testament that, in HR, you can also do automation. It's not just only in the business.
yeah,
And I didn't lose any people when I did automation during that time. I
yeah,
actually even gained more people because they were doubling up in terms of their skills.
yeah,
They're learning on their own. So when sometimes people ask me, like, do you need a project manager? I said, the person that I have is actually already knowledgeable on the project. How is this person doing? Oh, he has learned Power Automate in YouTube, and now he's doing this fun stuff on his own. HR? I said, yeah, HR. So what's the problem if they're HR? So that sort of thing, right? Like, how come they're surprised that HR is doing all this AI and digitalization, and why are you surprised that I'm interested in using Copilot in my tool? So I was like, really, until now, stereotyping those particular roles. But I guess it was the moment that suddenly everyone started relying on HR
yeah,
because nobody can do what HR can do, which is primarily letting go of people, giving the bad news and what have you. So it's us, right? Then suddenly we have meaning. Everybody started, okay, what do we do? Oh, ask HR, ask HR. Last time you don't hear that, right? I mean, prior pandemic, you will hear HR hire this one, HR fire this one, HR, why are you not doing your job? During the pandemic, well, HR, what can we do here? HR, can you help us do this? Oh,
yeah,
HR can. So, oh my God, suddenly we're part of the show, right? People are listening to what we're saying. And I think that's why I said, even if it's a global pandemic, for me, it was the best time because suddenly HR became an important part of the business.
yeah, yeah. I think the HR function got a rebranding worldwide because that crisis sort of they were like the superheroes in that phase. Um, I am going to have my next two questions, which are more about what we have already touched upon a bit: technology, automations, AI, and more from the future perspective. Um, what do you think, and where do you see how is the adoption of these new age AI tools? Of course, I think most of the organizations now have an HRIS system and the basic HR stack. But there are definitely more nuanced and niche AI tools. So, like, have you also started using it already? Or you planning to use some of them? I just want to know that state right now.
Yeah, we're planning to use it. We are using it in some of our departments for sure. In HR, I was just mentioning about this new product that Microsoft came out, right? With because it's a day-to-day tool that we're using, the MS Office applications. We're using Microsoft 365 in the company, and then comes this Copilot. That's literally your very good intern doing what you need to do because you want to be more productive. I think more than anything else, I was saying that these are just AI tools. At the end of the day, it's getting prompted to do what we need it to do. So
Yeah.
if the person does not even know how to provide instructions similar to how you do to
Yeah.
people, then the AI will give you anything and everything that you actually don't need. So that's where I am now more focused on, like with this AI coming into with the many tools that you have out there, people
Yeah.
might focus again on what's important. Yes, I want to be productive. Yes, I want to be on top of everything.
Yeah.
But I have to be mindful and keep on reminding them that,
Yeah.
sometimes it's a distraction more than, anything, because
Yeah.
there's just way too many of them. Before it was social media, it was Facebook, Instagram, then they consolidated it into one. So many communications tool that is being out there, then everybody is now so busy. Now there's AI. Now, is it ChatGPT? Is it Perplexity? Is it Copilot? Is it Bing search? Oh, now there's a Copilot in Bing. So it's a lot of distraction. So if there's no and unfortunately, right, we're doing hybrid. So they're distracted. They are at home. They're already distracted with their family. They want to work longer. They want to save on a commute. Fine. We're very outcome and output based. But at the end of the day, can you really manage to work from home with all this distraction? Oh, I'm also distracted there in the office because somebody's talking to me. I mean, that's different. When people see you that you're busy, they don't mind you, right? I mean, they
Yeah.
let you be.
Yeah.
But if people doesn't see you and your family, you cannot say no with your family, right? Because you're at home. So
Yeah.
I think the delineation between what is important, not important, what's a distraction versus what's helping you be
Yeah.
productive. I think that will be the major assignment of HR. How do you now help people? They're already distracted as it is.
Yeah.
Then the dawn of this age, AI will either help them or break them. And then comes this mental health issues again. It just doesn't end, I guess.
Yeah. My last question with respect to this technology and like the function in general, and then one small question again about you, and then we'll end this. Um, how how have you structured your team? I think I am really curious about when you have a large workforce of like 15,000. And of course now there has been transition, a new parent company and all that. So how have you structured your HR team? Um, are you also giving them certain KPIs or OKRs with respect to innovation or with respect to adopting AI or these automations? I'm just curious to know how the structure is and what goals have you set for 2024?
You're right into saying that I made them responsible for. So I have center of excellence. So I have my people partners who takes care of managing the center of excellence in HR and the businesses on what their needs are. We do have, of course, I call it the people culture and development, which manages the organizational training, development, and then I do have internal communications and engagement. I have people transformation, as we call it, people solutions and analytics. That's how the team is called. And of course, the people governance. So each of this are responsible for their respective efficiencies. We have the environment for you to empower yourself to take it. And that's why I think that's the main challenge, right? The environment is there for you to innovate. The environment is there to challenge you on, these are the tools. So long as, of course, it's within the boundaries because we're regulated by BSP. But as long as you can do that and see how you can make things better in your own particular processes, then go and do it. Suggest it, make a experiment, try it, and then once you get successful, please brag about it. So I think that's kind of thing that the team likes to do, and it goes without saying that with other departments as well, we do the same thing. We look at the customer insights. Same with me. I look at the employee insights. I just don't do survey. It's not really enough. You speak to people. You go down to the levels of the managers and the people that they're managing, and then you get insights from them. You walk in a shopping mall, meet your SAs or your sales advisors, and see how they do things. And then from there, if I'm the customer, how can I do better on the other side of things? So each of them are challenged to do just that. And I think that's the biggest advantage. And then the fun. I mean, for sure, for the others, it's not for everybody, right, Pawan? It's not for everybody. It's very tiring to be challenged every day. It's very tiring to look at things. How can I do things better? But for people who has that value and it's innate in them to wanting to improve things, that there's always a better way. If there's none, then let's accept it. It is what it is, right? But otherwise, if I don't try it, if I don't challenge it, then I will never know. Then come from that first, right? What's your pain point? What's your process? How can we automate? Can we automate? And then we look at the outside, whatever tools. So we don't go opposite, like, oh, there's fantastic tool out there. Let's buy it. What do you want to use it for? Oh, let me think about it. No. So, I mean, that is your design thinking skills, right? You look at those things first. So we go by that. I think in terms of the culture, the environment, and the way we work, and that's how our teams manages the 15,000 employees across the company.
Got it. Got it. I'm going to come to my last question, and this is not related to the function or about home credit or about these products or AI in general. This is specifically my learning actually, which is if you had to go back to your 20-year-old self and to give like one piece of advice, what would that be? Because I have I've seen like you have also had a transition from a role to something else, different countries in general and all that. So if you had to like give advice to your 20-year-old self, what would that be?
I think it's more of, I really go by the rationale of, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. I have to do my part because, and of course, I will tell my 20-year-old self, now your 50-year-old self is telling you, you have done well because I've traveled far enough. And the only thing that I had back then was an advice from my parents: go wherever you can make a difference. The money will follow. Everything that you need will be taken care and provided for as long as you do things. Go where you make a difference and then be kind. So it was very simple. But looking back, of course, I was a confused 20-year-old. What the hell are you talking about? And by the way, my first job after graduation was a call center agent. And I've been in the industry for a long time. I worked night shift. I loved it so much, even though my parents was against it, because it's night. The money's not good. You're there. You're traveling at night. So and call center back then, back in the days, was not that popular. I think there's only a couple of call centers. So you can just imagine it was not really as good, as better as what it is right now. Everything is provided for. The community suddenly went towards supporting the call center services, a lot of 24 hours transportation, food, etc. That time, no. But I did well because I went to the job that I wanted so bad to do, regardless of what the others, even my parents, was saying back then. And then I just continued on until they were surprised, like, "Oh my God, Alpha, you're going to travel to Singapore." And I think I was like 25 years old. I said, "Yeah, I'm joining this call center." I said, "Call center can make you go abroad?" I said, "I think so. I'm going to Singapore." So after that, then went again to another call center. And then it just so happened that, the last job that I was the CEO of the call center after being an agent for in the beginning. So I think that that was, if ever there's this thing, like I just went on. Now it's a cliche. Go for your passion, and I don't think passion sometimes will pay. Right? Go for your purpose. Not for everybody, honestly speaking. I just did what I wanted to do back then. I had fun when I can. I didn't, well, I don't think there was Starbucks back then. So I was not spending a lot of money with my coffee. I was bringing my own. But yeah, I think it's more of those two things that my parents said to me, which is go where you can add value, and just be kind wherever that may be. So it helped me a lot that I went to these different countries that I was exposed in, because I got to appreciate that it's really good to be exposed to such an environment. And here company, I think I'm very proud to say that you don't need to go outside the country, because I have everybody in this company that you can learn from. 31 nationalities, Pawan. I have
Yeah.
31 nationalities. In a company of 15,000. So I literally, I think I have most of them. Well, not really that much compared to Miss Universe, but I do have quite a lot of experts coming from different countries, bringing in their expertise and their values. And the Filipinos doesn't even need to go far. Just go to the office and speak to these talents of ours. So yeah, that I think those two things, Pawan.
Super. I hope probably next time when I'm in Manila, I get to meet you in person, and probably these other folks as well. And I'm glad that we did this conversation. I didn't realize when the time passed by, because like when you enjoy a conversation, you're not looking at the clock.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that we did this. So thank you so much, Alpha, for taking out the time for this.
Thank you so much, Tupawan. It was great having this conversation with you. Thank you so much.